Hi, this is a response to a question about our ear training course, Sing the Numbers, specifically the first level of that course, which is Sing the Numbers 1, the IFR tonal map. If you're not familiar with this course, we think it's something every IFR student should have. I think it's the best ear training ever created for improvisers because it uses actual music to teach you all of these sounds. We use beautiful songs and melodies to teach you to recognize the sound of each note of our musical system in a real musical context. And so as you're going through the course, you are definitely learning to recognize all of these sounds by ear, but you're also learning composing, you're learning musical storytelling, you're learning harmony, you're learning the chord notes. It wasn't something we initially set out to create. If there were any ear training program in the world that we thought was adequate for our students, then we never would have created a program ourselves, but we didn't see anything that was out there that would really bring things together in a way that would empower our students to make the connection to these beautiful sounds that you've been hearing all your life. And they're very simple location within our musical system, so you can play these sounds yourself on your instrument in any key. The entire course is the creation of Mireia Klua, violinist and composer and co-founder of this entire program, and we're super proud of it. It's been really helpful for all of our students, and so that's what this question is about. The question is, when I'm going through that first level of the course, can you give me any advice about when I should advance from one module to the next? We break the course into 5 modules, and in each module there are several different audio tracks where you're learning to recognize just a few of the notes of our musical system by ear, and then we move on to others and we keep expanding. And that's the way to do it. That's the right way to do ear training, is to get very clear about a few sounds first and then use that as your foothold to clarify the next sound and the next sound and the next sound. And so his question is, how do I know when I'm ready to move from Module 1 to Module 2, for example, within that first level of the course? And so, as kind of a guiding principle, the most important thing to understand about ear training is that you want to front load all your effort to the very first sounds. That's really all the trick with ear training. You want to, if you're going to try to organize this in your mind, you want to picture putting 99% of your effort into the first 1% of the content. Because if you can just get to clarity, rock solid crystal clarity about those first few sounds, just notes 1, 2, 3, and 4, for example, then all the rest are going to fall like dominoes. And so how do we do that? And how will we know when it's done? First, I think the way to do that is to work with those sounds very obsessively. So what you want to do is listen to those tracks every single day. You want to practice them actively. So in other words, the way they're designed to be used. The singer sings the melody to you in tonal numbers, and you sing the same melody back in tonal numbers. But you can also listen passively. Put the tracks on when you're just doing, work around the house. Put it on during the night while you're sleeping. Put it on when you're in the car. Let this be the soundtrack to your life. Just immerse yourself in these tonal numbers and these beautiful sounds so you can make the connection between the sounds and the numbers. You can also get creative and use the tracks in ways that they weren't even designed for. You can get out your instrument, and after the singer sings that melody in tonal numbers, you can play that melody on your instrument in that key. You should also combine this with your jam tracks practice. So then you go to IFR Jam Tracks Level 1, 7 worlds, and what you do is, as a special activity, it doesn't have to be your whole music practice, but just as a special activity every day, if you've been listening to the Sing the Numbers tracks that only use notes 1, 2, 3, and 4, then a great activity would be to get out your instrument, jam over a backing track in the first harmonic environment, and limit yourself to just notes 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't matter if it sounds interesting, if it produces a pleasing result. We're on a mission. We're on a mission to get absolutely clear about these 4 sounds. And so these are some of the things that I would do if I were trying to really, master this ability, and I was looking for my first big win. I would stay focused on the first 4 notes of the major scale that you have in Module 1 of Sing the Numbers 1. I would use my instrument, I would use my voice, and you can bet I would have these tracks on all day long in the background, no matter what else I'm doing. Now, how will you know when you're ready to add note 5, when you're ready to move into Module 2? I'll give you 3 ways that you can tell that you've really internalized these sounds and they're really yours now, and that means you're ready to move on and add note 5 to your repertoire. The first is something that you can do over our jam tracks. So when you're in that 7 worlds collection, and you're improvising in the first harmonic environment, and you're playing your instrument and you're just using notes 1, 2, 3, and 4. The question is, can you imagine those musical phrases in your mind first? Could you sing them out loud? Could you even sing them with tonal numbers and get all the pitches right before going to play that phrase on your instrument? If you've got that, that's one indication of this understanding that we want. I mean, the whole point of studying music is to study the sounds and to get to clarity about which is which. And so if you can imagine melodies with these 4 notes, and then you know exactly how to express that same melody on your instrument, that's a great indication that the connection is really already made and these notes are truly yours. A second thing you can do is kind of like the same, but without your instrument and without the jam track. So this is something you can do anywhere. And the question is, can you just recreate in your mind the sensation of these first 4 notes of the major scale? And can you improvise melodies with these notes in your mind? You can sing them out loud if that makes it easier. You could even sing the numbers. But if these notes are really yours, if they become a part of you, then you have to be able to find them within your own imagination, recreate them, and express melodies with these 4 notes, knowing every step of the way which note is which. So that's another great indication that you've really internalized this language and now it's available to you. The third thing is something you'll need somebody else for. I mean, if you're comfortable with apps and programming and things, you could probably rig up some technology way to do it. But it's more fun to do it with another person anyway, so that's what I would recommend. And it's super easy. It's something even a child could help you with. And all you need is for someone to sit at a piano keyboard and you show them where the notes 1, 2, 3, and 4 are in any key on the piano. And you just ask them to very calmly move through those notes one at a time. And you can do this activity for as long as you want. And while that person is playing, you're following along mentally. And they play the note and you say, oh, that's note 3. And they play the next note and you say, oh, that's note 4. And they play the next note. You just move down to note 2, right? You're recognizing that in your mind. You're just following the music. And in exercise 2 in my book, I describe that as follow the melody. You're just following the melody actively, picturing every step of the way exactly where you are in your tonal map. I would say if you can do these 3 activities, then I don't know how anybody could say that you are not an absolute master of notes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you are absolutely ready to move on to module 2 and add 5 to your repertoire and just give it the same love and attention and time, and you'll see the octave's not very big. This might sound like an awful lot of crazy effort to put into clarifying 4 notes, but guess what happens after you get note 5, note 6, and note 7? You just got so that you can recognize literally 99% of the sounds in every song on the radio in every country. Okay, this is a huge accomplishment. And from there, we then have a jumping off point so we can recognize the notes outside the key. And there aren't that many of them. Besides the 7 notes of the major scale, there are only 5 more notes in our whole musical system. That's why I say you want to put all your energy and love into making those first connections. And so if I had just one piece of this tool to work with, I would have you work with module 1 of Sing the Numbers 1 and just spend as much time as you need to get to absolute clarity about notes 1, 2, 3, and 4, because if you get that, then you got everything.